Selfie stick, baby. Like I said in the last video, don't knock it till you try it. I got a story. Everybody loves stories. In January of 2024, my family and I were experiencing the biggest financial crisis of our lifetime, and there was a pretty good chance we were going to be kicked out of our house, as they say. Although that's a little bit dramatic, but that's essentially what it was. And so on the weekend, my wife and I decided to go take a trip as a family because the family just needed a getaway. We needed a break. So we loaded everybody up and we were headed about an hour and a half away from the house. And a snowstorm started. And it was not a normal snowstorm. We had, let me figure out how I'm going to get over this obstacle here. Ugh. The snow was hammering down. You could barely see when we were on the thruway, and then we got off on the side road, and it just got increasingly worse. We were headed out towards Maryland, where it typically snows quite a bit more than our hometown. And we came to this fork in the road where you could take a shortcut down a goat path, or you could stay on what was the main drag, although it was not much better. And my wife says to me, "Do not go down there. It's not safe. Don't drive down that road. Stay on the main road." And I looked at her and I said, "Oh, you big baby." And I whipped it on the side road. Little did I know that that was going to affect the rest of our evening. So we drove up this little goat path. There were snow drifts all over it. These weren't small snow drifts. These were like 2 feet tall. Couldn't even see the road. The only reason I could tell where to go was there was ruts from cars that had gone down previously. So we're in a whiteout and I'm driving up the road, barely able to see in front of me. And we hit a dead stop. There's 2 or 3 dead vehicles stuck in a snowdrift in front of us. To make matters worse, and to make this story even more dramatic, we only had, that little light on your vehicle that comes on that says 20 miles till empty, or 50 miles till empty, or fuel is low. That light came on and it said 20 miles till empty. And if we had stayed on the road that my wife advised us to drive on, we would have been fine because there was a gas station like a mile up. Oh, and I also had a trailer with a 4-wheeler on the back of the family vehicle. So we're at a standstill. There's 2 dead vehicles in front of us. You can't see 2 feet in front of your face. I have 2 dogs, 6 children, and a wife in the vehicle. And so I jump out of the car and I run down to talk to the guy. There's a little Jeep Wrangler stuck in front. He's sideways on the road. The road is sloping down and he's perpendicular to it, halfway in the ditch. And then there's a little Subaru with a tiny old lady in it, right behind him. So I go talk to the kid in the whatever it's called, Jeep Wrangler, and I said, "Hey man, what are we doing? Do I need to call a tow truck?" He says, "No, my dad's on the way here." I was like, "All right, well, I got little kids in the car. Like, we got to keep moving." So I get back in our vehicle. We're all on a hill like this. I start trying to back up. Keep in mind I have a little lawnmower trailer on the back of the vehicle, and I have a 4-wheeler and a bunch of camping stuff because we're going to a cabin. So I'm trying to back up, and as soon as I start backing up, the road's so slick, my trailer just jackknifes, and I'm stuck. A few minutes later, another vehicle shows up. I run up to talk to this lady. I'm not dressed for this weather, so I'm in skimpy clothes, barely like a light jacket. I run up to this lady who's driving down the road behind us, start waving my arms. Hey, turn around, you turn around. I catch her, she tries backing up, she slides off the road. So now there's like 4 of us. We got idiot in the Wrangler, cute little old lady, us, and then another old lady who was lost, asking me for directions after I flagged her down. So an hour later, we're like super low on fuel. And it's a bad deal, like to be completely trapped in, and at this point there's 2 feet of snow everywhere. There's nobody showing up to get this kid out of the way. I'm not even convinced that if the kid gets pulled out of the way, that our vehicle can continue on down the road, because we're pretty much at a standstill in a jackknife position. So while we're sitting there, my wife gets out snacks, she gets out popcorn, we start blaring Christian music, and we just start singing with the kids. And we treated this for an hour waiting for this kid's dad. We treated this like we were having the biggest party of our lives. The kids were having a blast. Dogs were going nuts. We had a German Shepherd and a cockapoo in the car with us. You would have thought it was Christmas morning in our car. So the dad shows up and he gets hooked up. He's in a lifted Jeep Wrangler, so not a whole lot better than the kid that's stuck in the ditch. Hooks up to this kid and doesn't move 2 inches. He just sits there and spins. And the more he spins his wheels, the more he starts going off the road. So they farted around probably an hour, maybe 45 minutes. And then he is stuck. He's at a dead standstill. So now there's 2 Jeeps chained together, completely stuck with no ability to move. So I go down to the kid and I'm like, look, man, we're at like 10 miles till empty. Oh, and I had to keep shutting the vehicle off while we're sitting here. So we would shut the vehicle off. There was so much body heat in there. The windows were all steamy. There's fog everywhere. I'd have to turn the vehicle on just so I could see if the knuckleheads in front of us had moved. Every 30 minutes or so, I'd kick the vehicle on, run the defrost, take a peek to see if maybe they had actually gotten out of the ditch. But I go up to the kid and I'm like, look, we're gonna run out of gas. I got little kids in the vehicle. I can't be stuck here all night. Like, call a tow truck. And so while I'm talking to him, my wife calls a tow truck, and the guy says, yeah, I'm right around the corner. Whoa, how am I gonna get through this? A little swampy. So while this is all going on, we're having a blast inside of my vehicle. The kids are having fun. It was like a movie night in there with all the laughing and jokes that we were telling, and then we started playing a game of I Spy. And this was a little, like, it was scary because we were stuck, and actually right at this time period in my hometown of Buffalo, there had been a really significant blizzard where I think like 52 people died. This had just happened within a couple weeks. So this was in the back of my mind, like, you get stuck in the snow with no gas, it's a life and death situation. It must have been an hour and 45 minutes later, the tow truck, I think total time we waited was about 4 hours. But the tow truck shows up, takes him almost an hour to get everybody out, because we got Knucklehead in a Jeep, Knucklehead 2 in a Jeep, sweet little old lady, us with a trailer, and then little old lady number 2. So this tow truck driver, he was like a saint. He pulled these guys out, and it was very difficult because they were chained together and there was so much tension on the chain. He couldn't get them untied from each other. So I helped him get them hooked up. We got those guys out of the way. Those guys, once he pulled them down to the bottom of the hill, because he said it was too dangerous to take everybody back up the hill, he pulled them down. So car 1 was gone, car 2, car 3 is able to tow down. And these vehicles get to the bottom of the hill and they just book it. They just take off. And so he comes up to us, and I said, I think we can make it. And he says, yeah, you can make it, but don't slow down. He's like, if you tap your brakes, you're gonna go sideways because it's like a sheet of ice. He says, just put the pedal to the floor and ride it out without hitting your brake. So we did, and we made it all the way to the bottom of this hill. It leveled out. It slowed us down naturally. And I hop out to talk to this guy, and I said, hey, did those Jeep guys pay you? And he's like, no, they just left. These guys caused this traffic jam that got everybody stuck for 4 to 5 hours. And then they just dined and dashed, stuck the guy with the bill. I was so grateful for what he had done for us that and my wife and I talked and we're like, yeah, let's pay him something, because he came here and got 4 or 5 people out. So we paid the tow truck driver. He was incredibly grateful. Not that that was anything special, but because he didn't have to tow us out. But that whole time we were stuck, the kids never knew that there was a single thing wrong. My oldest is 7, my youngest is 1. And because we treated it like a picnic, and not one complaint came out of my wife's mouth, not one complaint came out of the kids' mouths, they thought we were having a family movie night. And we had a blast. Our entire evening was spent stuck in the snow, in the middle of nowhere, like I mean nowhere, with no gas. And because we maintained the right mentality throughout, it ended up being one of the most memorable nights of the first part of the year. And it was a blast. It was like a family getaway stuck in the snow. And I think about all the times that I've had the opposite reaction to different experiences and things that I'm going through, or, you know, negative reactions where you flip out, lose your cool, you completely blow up. I could have sat there steaming. Like I struggle with a lot of anger and being pissed off. I could have sat there just fuming the entire time, screaming at the kids, being miserable. But by treating it like it was, by treating the situation like it was all going to work out, and not having a reactive attitude towards it, or not having a reactive attitude towards it, we ended up having a blast. And I guess the way we respond to situations dictates the outcome. Me and my wife look back on that and talk about that like it was one of the best family times we've had, and it was. But it could have gone the exact opposite way had we responded differently. I think you get the point. So I'll end it there.